just going to show you how to peel your decals off and get them ready to use. It'll be the same technique whether you're doing the small ones for the coasters or the big ones for the wood signs or any of the other projects like that. So the clear part here is the transfer tape, the white part is the backing, and then the black is the actual decal that we want. So you want to flip it on the clear transfer tape face down, and then get a corner and pull that back really carefully. The smaller and more intricate your design is, the more you're gonna have to be careful pulling it up. Really big designs are gonna be pretty easy. So just pull the white backing like this, and if you have any parts that are sticking up, you just kind of push them back down firmly with your finger and then keep pulling back slowly. And as you pull back like this, this one came off perfectly, and then you're good to go. So then you're gonna take whatever you're putting it onto, whether it be a tile or the wood, line it up where you want it. Be careful when you put it down because it's kind of a one shot. Once you've put it down, it doesn't really come back up nicely. So lay it down, push it down firmly to make sure that your black decal adheres really nicely. And then you can just, again, carefully pull off the transfer tape and you're good to go. Okay, now I'm gonna go over how to do the coasters if you want to have white underneath your decal, underneath your shape here. The first thing you're gonna do is clean off your tile with the alcohol and then put your decal down. Once that's done, which I obviously have already, you're gonna grab your colors. So I'm choosing two really nice contrasting colors so it'll show up well in the video. You can do it however you want. You want to color kind of wherever you want the color to be. It doesn't have to be perfect because once you put the alcohol on, the color is going to run. So just color around however you want it to look. You do want to make sure you get pretty close to the edges of your black. It's totally okay to go over the edges of that. If you want your color to go all the way to the edge of the board, also make sure you're getting pretty close to the edges there. I think I'm okay with a little bit of white space around the end. Then you're gonna grab your dropper, get some alcohol in there, and start applying some drops in on the marker. And you can see it's already starting to spread where I've put the alcohol drops. And then, once you have enough on there, you're just going to kind of move it around. As you can see, the more you move it around, the more the colors are going to blend. So just depending on the look you want, kind of be aware that that's gonna happen. So once you're happy with, or once all of your alcohol's on there and everything is run out nicely, you're gonna grab your barbecue lighter. Make sure you have nothing highly flammable like paper towel near your tile. Sit back a little bit, and then, ta-da. Fast forward. Okay, so once it's done burning down, just give it a second before you touch it because it will be hot, and you want to give it a second to dry a little bit anyway. If you're not happy with it, you can add some more alcohol and take your paper towel and just wipe it all off. You can also take your spray bottle here and spritz a little bit like that, and it'll add, I'm not sure how much you can see that in the video, but it'll add texture kind of to it. And you're using a small enough amount of alcohol. You don't have to burn it off here. You just let it dry for a minute. And then once that's dry and the coaster is completely cooled down, you're just gonna carefully grab your decal and peel it off. It's okay if it comes off in multiple pieces. You're not gonna be reusing it. And then you're done. So this is how you will do your tiles if you want color underneath your decal. So you want your character or your design to be colored. One quick word of warning with this, some of the Sharpies, and I can't pick out for you which color is gonna be which, but a couple of them do stain the tile a little bit. And unfortunately, there's no real way to know that for sure, so you might end up with a little bit of residue from that color, which you can either leave or do another color on top of. So just keep that in mind if you're gonna do it this way. There is a tiny bit of risk involved. You're gonna start with the tile blank without putting your decal on, and you're gonna add some color. So I'm going to add some color here. So keep in mind that where your decal is going to go is the only place that this color is going to show up. So if you concentrate all your color in one spot and you miss you miss the pattern of the color that you want, it's not going to show up on the decal the same way. So just keep in mind where your decal is going to end up to help you decide how you're going to do your color. And I'm just going to use him as a reference to kind of figure out where I still need some more color here. Doesn't have to be perfect. It is going to run a little bit once you add the alcohol, but you just want to make sure you have enough. Okay, so once you have your color on there and you're happy with it, you're going to grab your dropper and some alcohol and just drop it right on. And you will find if you don't want your colors to mix together as much, you're going to want to add a little bit more alcohol so that you don't need to move the tile around and it'll just kind of run on its own. You can also grab an old paintbrush and use that to get rid of some of the streaks or to move the alcohol around and kind of get it where you want. Okay, so once you're happy with that, I'm going to stand back, make sure there's nothing, paper towel, anything like that touching the tile. And then more alcohol means bigger fire. Keep that in mind. And then while your tile's cooling down, you can get your decal ready. You can also still play with it if you're not happy with the way the colors turned out. You can always play with it now. You can add some of the droplets from the sprayer. Once you're happy with it, you're going to want to put your color on, or your decal on. So I'll just pull this off. Like I said in the video about the decals, nice big designs like this are quite easy to pull them off, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Actually, I think I'm going to flip mine around here. Like this. Just trying to decide where I want the color. And then just make sure before you put it down, kind of eyeball, make sure there's going to be color under your entire design. Okay, peel the transfer tape off. So now the different step here versus doing it with the color around the character is you're going to add a whole bunch of alcohol on here and then grab some paper towel and you're gonna wipe it off. So it might take a couple tries. And so this is where I was saying there are a couple of colors that will sometimes stain the background a little bit. It's not a common thing. I've had it happen with a light blue and so far that's it. But just so you know, it can happen. So now the other thing you can do with your tile like this is if you wanted to put color around it, you can do that as well. So you can have color under your design and around your design. You just have to do those two steps separately. So I'm actually just gonna do it this way to get some blue around Tigger here. I'm realizing I didn't put quite enough color there, so I'm gonna spread it here. And do watch, I had some alcohol drop on the wood piece here, so just kind of keep an eye if you have a lot of extra alcohol drop there. You might want to give it a second to dry before you light it on fire, or else that will also light on fire. Just gonna dab that away with my paper towel here. And you can also see with this one, because I used a fair amount of alcohol on a fairly small amount of color, it does lighten the color quite a bit. It does stretch it out. So just keep in mind what you want to have happen there. There's a little bit of fire, it's fine. Give it a second, cool it down. Okay, you can peel this guy off, and you can see the color we did first underneath, and then the color we did afterwards around him. So like I said, you can just leave around him white. Just depends on what you're going for, and make sure if you are going to do two colors like this with the foreground and the background, make sure they have a really high contrast. Otherwise, you kind of lose the design that way. Have fun.